Distinguished guests, colleagues, it is a genuine pleasure to be with you at this summit, and I want to thank the organizers for convening such a timely and consequential gathering. The theme, Shaping the Future of Energy Transition, could not be more fitting because I believe we are at one of those rare moments in history where ambition and opportunity are generally aligned. I want to speak to you today as a diplomat, but someone who has been for a long time engaged in the climate space. Prior to taking up my tenure as an ambassador here in India, I served as Iceland's special envoy for climate. And before that, I spent some 5 years in the UN working on energy transition. Now, before I turn to my country, I would like to tell you that I just came back from Oslo, where I participated in the Nordic India Leaders Summit, where my Honorable Prime Minister had the opportunity to meet with your Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Modi. And I can tell you that the main focus of our conversations were around energy transition, clean energy, and carbon capture, use, and storage. So this is where we have founded our collaboration as we stand today. Now, it was mentioned earlier also this wonderful word, samband. Let me tell you that there was an interesting dialogue between my Prime Minister and your Honorable Prime Minister around that word. I'm not going to go into explaining the word samband in Hindi, but I can tell you what it means in Icelandic. It really refers to that we do this together. This is a joint mission. This is a partnership. So we were very happy that we could actually find that word, and we are now sort of highlighting samband as the core of our way going forward. Now, let me go to Iceland. We run our energy system on 100% electricity from renewables. And this is not by any accident, and it was not overnight. Geothermal and hydropower form the backbone of our electricity system. We've been on this path for decades, and the lessons we have drawn from it are practical, they are hard-won, and I would argue deeply relevant to the challenges that this room is grappling with. We know what it means to build energy system around natural endowments. We know what it takes to attract private capital into long-cycle infrastructure. We know the importance of regulatory certainty, institutional trust, and government ownership of the plan, not just the aspiration. This is why Iceland does not see the energy story as something to export, but as something to share. And it is why the Nordic countries collectively have made energy partnership a central pillar of our engagement with India and the broader South Asia region. Now, the Nordic India Leaders Summit has given renewed political momentum to this partnership. What strikes me about the dialogue is the quality of India's ambition. India is not asking the Nordics for templates. It's asking for partners. Partners in technology, in finance, in institutional design, in the kind of knowledge exchange that shortens the learning curve. India's renewable energy scale is frankly, extraordinary. The targets, the pace, the institutional architecture being built. This is a country that has decided at the highest level that the energy transition is a natural or a national project, not a compliance. And the Nordic countries want to be a part of that story in offshore wind, in green hydrogen, in energy efficiency, in the finance structures that make large-scale clean energy investable. India is also becoming something more than a transition story in itself. It's becoming actually a knowledge hub, a node through which the lessons of its own transformation can flow to neighbors and partners across the global south. That is the role India is beginning to play actively, and the international community should, in my opinion, support that. This brings me to a part of my remarks I most wanted to develop, because it speaks directly to what responsible international partnership looks like in practice. The United Nations system has two institutions that I believe deserve particular recognition for the seriousness and sophistication with which they are supporting South Asian countries in their energy transition paths. One is the UNOPS, the UN Office for Project Services, and the other one is SE for All, Sustainable Energy for All, which I served on for 6 years. SE for All is not a traditional development organization. It operates with a lean, field-driven model. It has offices across Africa and Asia, and including here in New Delhi. And it has developed a distinctive methodology for something that sounds simple, but is actually quite rare. Helping governments produce their own government-owned energy transition plans and thereby investment plans. Not donor-driven documents that sit on shelves, but integrated, evidence-based roadmaps that anchor budget decisions, attract private capital, and give investors the regulatory and policy confidence they need. What makes this model distinctive is where the ownership sits. The plan belongs to the government. The evidence base belongs to the country. SE for All and UNOP's role is to build that capacity so that when its direct involvement ends, the country can continue, and so that private investors and multilateral financiers have the confidence to commit at scale. This is patient, serious, institutionally building work. It does not generate headlines, but it's exactly what developing countries need alongside the large capital flows. And it is where the UN system, at its best, adds irreplaceable value. Now, South Asia, with its extraordinary renewable endowment, is rapidly growing energy demand, and its emerging cross-border electricity trade architecture is precisely the region where this kind of integrated planning support can be most transformative. The energy transition underway here are not charity projects, they are economic imperatives. They are security strategies. They are, in the most practical sense, about who gets to industrialize, who gets energy security, and who builds the industries of the next century. The Nordic countries have chosen to be partners in that story, not as instructors, but as colleagues. Iceland brings what we know about building energy systems on renewable foundations. India brings scale, institutional depth, and increasingly the capacity to be a knowledge leader in its own right. The UN system, through UNOPS and SE for All, brings the connective tissue, the methodology, the neutrality, the South-South facilitation capacity that makes regional learning possible. This summit is called Shaping the future of energy transition. I would suggest that the future is not being shaped in any single country or by any single actor. It is being shaped by the quality of the partnership we build, the planning we invest in, and the honesty which we acknowledge that the low carbon path is not only the right one, it is increasingly the economically superior one. Iceland is proud to be a part of building that architecture here in South Asia, alongside India and the United Nations system. I thank you.